Recorded. I hope it is recording now. Yes. Okay. Can you see my screen, by the way? Do you see, I'm hopefully sharing the slides that I'm going to use for this briefing. Okay, thank you. All right, let me just move around a little bit. Swap presenter view. Okay. All right, I think everybody can see my screen. I got some yeses. So, close this window. All right. Good morning or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. So this is an introduction for Data 630. There are two sections to the semester, and I teach 9040. My name is Ferdinand Bhatti. So I will be teaching one of the section, but I don't know if the invitation was extended to the second section, but Dr. Amy Gates teaches that, and we do have the same teaching assistants for both sections in the data. She introduced herself in the introduction forum. So the things that I want to highlight and introduce in this section and this session today is, some of the introduction about the course. The content and the structure of the course, how it is structured into a modular form, how one module, how you move from one module to another, and some of the expectation for grading. And there are some miscellaneous items, in general, how to become successful in the course, given that there's a lot of material that we'll be covering in the course. Time management is key. And hopefully, although, like I said earlier, there is a 40 minutes max limit on this, we will have enough, at least 5 minutes for Q&A. Okay, so a few years ago, since I guess 3 years now, the university decided not to require textbooks. So this is open educational resources course, which means you don't have to buy textbooks to follow and be able to attend the course. So that means we will provide a lot of materials, web-based articles, links, required materials, chapter books from some of the freely available textbooks, lecture videos, both from the professor as well as YouTube videos. So there are a lot of resources. But for the purpose of this course, you're not required to buy a textbook. That doesn't mean that you can get by and become successful in data science without buying books. I think, as you know, the technology changes so fast. So to keep up the pace, I think it's unavoidable to buy books, reference books, or textbooks if you want to pursue a career in data science. It's a good investment, but you're not required to buy for this class. Announcement, we have regular announcement that says new section. So if there is any relevant material, or if we need, if you seek your attention, we will be posting new information on the website, on the course page. Sometimes the university has a career advertisements, and those get posted as well. Okay, so this is the relative placement of the course 630 in relation to the overall data analytics master's program. So I believe all of you have gone through both data 610 and 620. And my hope is that you have covered some of the basic material about data analysis in general, a little bit about descriptive, how you summarize data, generate some important statistics. So that's kind of descriptive. And diagnostic is to identify some patterns a little bit. So I don't expect that you have gone through most of it, but a little bit. So data 630 is actually where you cover all the fundamental topics of data mining and machine learning. So which includes pre-processing. And this is typical, by the way, in any project. It's not just a school project. Even in the work environment, that the typical steps are you find the data, relevant data, do some kind of cleaning, do some pre-processing, and have understanding of the data without applying any fancy algorithms. And then you apply to the algorithm. In some cases, that algorithm could be machine learning. In some cases, it is something that to explain the relationship of some variables. So that is kind of predictive. So we will cover that in 630. So like I said, all the fundamental topics of data science or machine learning will be covered in this course. And in the next course, which is Data 640, you take the advanced version of the topic that we cover in this course. For instance, one of the topic that we will cover here is neural networks. And then when you get to 640, it will be, I got this window open. Let me close it. Okay. Sorry about that. So when you go to 640, you will learn the advanced application of neural network, which is typically called deep learning. Also, another topic we'll cover will be decision tree. It's a type of a classification. And in 640, you learn the advanced version of that, which is ensemble, how you combine multiple trees to improve the performance of the model. So 630 and 640 go together. So fundamental topic in 630 and the advanced application of those more or less same methods in 640. And I believe you get a little bit into prescriptive, which is more challenging in 650. So this is just to give you some perspective about the relative placement of the course in relation to your program. What the bullet says, we do have a lot of hands-on programming exercise. It's not theory-based. We don't focus on the underlying mathematical details of the algorithm that we learn, primarily on how you can get modeling done and how you evaluate models and be able to be productive. That doesn't mean that you don't have to understand the underlying implementation. It just means this course focuses on the hands-on part. Okay, course content. So this is a module-based course. I believe most courses in the university, in the UMUC are. And I'm hopeful that you're accustomed to that kind of structure. So we have 6 modules, actually 7 modules if you include the group project. So the first 2 weeks, and each module except the second module, which is association rules mining, each module has 2 weeks. So in these 2 weeks, you will be learning about data prep and visualization. It is common to any analytics, whether you do machine learning or any other type of modeling. Those are the first step, that you have to prepare the data, do some understanding through visualization. So we will spend the next 2 weeks. Well, I guess half of the week is gone, but the first 2 weeks on these topics. And throughout the course, you will be leveraging the stuff that you learn in these 2 weeks when you do modeling. Every time you do modeling, this is required. You have to write in your report what kind of data analysis, data prep you did, what kind of visualization and the result of that before you move to the actual modeling or applying the algorithm. There's no exception to this. I mean, again, that's not unique in academic settings, but everywhere. Yeah. So then we move on to module 2, which is association mining. This is a type of learning algorithm that is unsupervised. It is a 1-week module. So that's the only module is only 1 week. And then the next 2 modules, we cover statistical data mining. In linear regression, logistic regression, and Bayesian classification, we will cover in module 3. And then we move on to supervised classification, like I said, decision tree and neural networks. Decision tree is in module 4, and then we go to neural networks in module 6. So, like I said, 2 weeks for each module. The first week, kind of understanding the concept and doing some exercise, practice exercise, which is graded, and have slides to talk about the difference between exercises and assignments. But typically the first week you spend understanding about the R implementation of that algorithm, the logic behind that algorithm. And then the second week you'll be spending your time actually working on your assignments. So there is difference between the exercises and the assignments. And I will talk about that when we get there. And in module 6, we will learn about a very common type of unsupervised classification, which is cluster analysis. We use a k-means algorithm, so that will be in module 6. And then, although you will work throughout the modules, starting module 3 on the group project, but there is 1 week dedicated for you to finish up your group project. So there's a report. It's a rather lengthy report that you're expected to submit for the group project. The group project is going to be on web or text mining, which we won't cover in the course, in the sense that there is no dedicated time to just study so you will be referencing materials throughout the modules. There are milestones, and I think I have another page talking about it. So overall, there are 7 modules, although the group project you will be working on throughout most of the course. Course competency. So this is competency-based course. What that means is you have to demonstrate. Sometimes you understand the logic and everything, but unless you perform through your report, through your homework and assignments, you haven't demonstrated. So you have to demonstrate that by actually showing what you understood. And we do have assignments for each main topic. And the weeks, so we cover a topic. For that topic, there's a relevant assignments and the relative exercises. And also, I know some of you, maybe most of you, haven't had any experience in R, but we use R in this course. You might have been exposed to Python before. For the most part, what you can do in one, you can do in the other. But we will focus on R in this course. We'll be using R. And we will have a discussion, interaction, this being an online course. That is the main channel of communication. So questions that you might have, discussion. In fact, they're graded recorded, great discussion, and I have a slide on that too. Okay. Better manage my time. Okay, good. Like I said, R in RStudio, R is the engine, the platform, and RStudio is an IDE. It's like a text editor. It's not required that you have to use RStudio, but your life becomes easier when you use RStudio, because some of the chores is simplified using the RStudio. So, but R is what we use. It says R is not just a language; it's a platform with rich libraries, and you get to see some of the libraries that were relevant for the topic we cover. It's a very rich library. I think 5,000 libraries. Yeah, obviously you're not going to know all that, but I don't think you need to know all that. But you get the idea how you use a package, especially if you're new to R. There are tutorials by the TS, sometimes live, depending on participation. The TS, if there is interest in having live tutorials, the TS set up one for every module. If not, they're recorded from the past semesters. So in fact, there is one tomorrow on R and RStudio. I posted an announcement. So tomorrow there is a webinar on R, the basic syntax of R, and how you load libraries and how you run some of the core syntax in R. And so I strongly recommend that you attend tomorrow's webinar by the TAs, one of the TAs. And like I said, subsequent tutorials for relevant R libraries for the topic that we cover. Lots of resources on R. It's a large amount of resources in R, YouTube videos, and in fact, we compiled some of the commonly widely used ones. And on the course page, there is a module. There is a page that lists all these resources on R. Okay. So assignments in practice exercise. Like I said earlier, kind of mentioned this. So for the first week of most modules, you remember I said, oh, every module has 2 weeks except one. So for those modules with 2 weeks, the first week you spend on reading the materials, watching the video lectures, and any relevant references. And then you get to practice using the tutorial. So that there are a tutorial for each. And then using that tutorial, you do exercise. That's kind of practice exercises. It's not a lot of open-ended question, but how you can run some specific commands and how you interpret output of those commands. So those are the exercises. But to motivate you, those are graded, like 2% each. Okay, 2% each. So those are the exercises, but the assignments are different. The assignments are papers, minimum of 7 pages for each module that you would demonstrate your understanding of that particular topic that we cover in the course. So you actually write a report detailing about the model fitting process, the output that you get, interpreting the output, evaluating the model. All those things are done in the assignments. So the assignments in the second week, except for the second module, that one a little bit loaded because you have to do both the exercise and the assignment in 1 week. Okay. And as you can see, the relative weight for the grades for each one of those assignments. Okay. And also, we do have a group project. We will be forming the group in week 3. Week 3. It is 20% of the total grade. It is a group project, so you have to collaborate with each other. And I know, group projects, sometimes there's challenges depending on the members, but you get to evaluate every member at the end of the course. So I take that into consideration when we do the grading. Okay, those are the assignments and the exercise. Discussion items also are graded. As I said, that's the main channel of communication in this setting. So in every module, there is a discussion, a required discussion, except in module 2. Given that there is only 1 week in module 2, you're not required to do a graded discussion. You can continue having discussion in the question forum for the TA as well as for the professor. But other modules, you have to do discussions. Those are graded to a person. So we try to structure those as well. So the first week, in the first week, you will do initial posts, right? Initial posts, and the requirements and everything is in each discussion forum. And then you get the chance to respond to other people's posts in the second week. You can start posting responses right the first week as well. But the initial post is required in the first week. So it is due before the end of the first week. Otherwise, it's late. There is a late penalty. So 1 percentage point for the initial post, and for your responses, another point. So each module has a discussion, graded discussion of 2%. So like I said, it adds interactivity. Try to contribute, interesting observation. This is how we learn. And I myself learned from the introduction, actually. Sorry, I keep this. I'm sorry, just a minute. I keep this warning message on the Zoom. We have removed the 40-minute time limit in your group meeting. Oh, okay, that's good. This is how I think it enriches the learning experience. Sometimes people learn something and they post that. You'll find out, I think, it is an additional burden for you because you have to compose the initial post and think about responses, but yeah, part of the requirement. Okay. No, this is important, grading. Make sure I did not skip any page. So the grading, so the university requirement is if you perform on time, on task work, wet written report, complete, properly documents, that is a B. 80, that's it, the minimum expectation. So 80 to 85%, it's a B. So if you want to get higher grade, you are expected to do more. So these are some of the ways that you can increase your grade. Depth, breadth in your analysis, in your report, also in your participation in the discussion. Include alternative viewpoints. Just don't agree or disagree with what was posted when it is in the discussion forum. But content is important. In examples, sometimes you make assumptions. So long as you explain those assumptions and defend it, that's fine. And believe me, yeah, providing examples is an easy way to make your point. And also, a professor will have easier time understanding what you're trying to do when you provide examples, when it's applicable. Critical thinking is important. This is quantitative analysis, so you have to have the critical thinking, okay? The last sentence says, adding content is the surest way to improve your answer. Don't just, add content for the sake of adding content, relevant content, and you will not be penalized. So for instance, the module assignments are, I think, 7 to 10 pages. If you find some relevant material and you wanted another page to explain your model that maybe you did some more experiment, you won't be penalized for it. It's actually good. Okay, that's grading. So recommendation for success in the course. I know this is a graduate course, you're busy. I understand sometimes life gets in the way. So time management and strategizing how you tackle some of these problems is important. So start early, at the beginning of the module, because the reading is a lot, and sometimes if you're late, it can get overwhelming, and you will fall behind. So please manage your time. Regularly look at announcement. I tend to not to inundate the course page with announcement. I try to limit to 1 or 2 a module, but sometimes there are busy times that there are announcements from the university, as well as some of the things that are ongoing in the course. But regularly check the announcements page. So that's important. Like I said earlier, there are sometimes additional guidance, links, some instruction, just follow those. In question, and this is very important, you will have questions, because this is not just understanding the concept, but implementing those concepts in R, okay? R is not very friendly. R can be mean sometimes. I've used R for a long time, and I still stumble on some areas. So the moment you get error message, please avoid the urge to post that error. Okay, and this is in fact the way how you learn. And then there are places. First, try to understand where they are. Just if there's any. If the message, the error message, has some indication, some hint about the type of error that you're getting. If not, try to look for, Google it. And there is Stack Overflow. There are some different forums that, because R has been around for a long time, it is, 99% of the time, the error that you get, somebody has gone through that. But sometimes even with that, you don't get a response to post it on the TA forum. Any question on R problem, syntax, or something not running, or you're unable to load a particular module, those kind of questions go to the TA forum. But please, please, please don't send that type of question through emails. Don't send emails. Is for something private, great related stuff. Maybe you are late on assignment because of some issue, something like private, personal stuff. If it is course related, please use appropriate forums. And the nice thing about that is other students will also benefit from the discussion, right? You run one, you're having issue installing some package, then when we discuss it, that would also answer likely, another person's experience as well, okay? When it is concept related, logic about the underlying, not the programming aspect, but understanding of the material itself, that should go in the professor's forum. So I'll keep an eye on that. And there is a requirement, but before I say that, there are times where you have to send email through communication. Like I said, when you have some personal issues, grading question, those are appropriate for emails. And there is a policy requirement by the university that you should get a response within 24 hours. Okay. Hopefully that's clear. So this is not quite related to the course, or it's related, but it's not specific to the course. This is like, what is data scientist, or how do you become successful as a data scientist? The data science is one of various unique skills that combines different domains, right? You have to be a little bit of a statistician, you have to be a little bit of a mathematician, you have to be a little bit of a computer science. Kind of hard field, but interesting. So interesting. So this diagram, there's a mini version of this diagram, shows that data science, you see the combination of domain expertise, mathematics, and computer science. Domain experts, because any data science is practiced in some field. It's not, data science is not done in a vacuum, right? So you have to apply it for some domain. And if you have to have some working knowledge of that domain, because you will be interacting with domain experts from that field or that industry. So you should be able to explain your model in a language that's appropriate for that domain. So you have to know, you're not expected to be an expert for that domain, but you have to have, and obviously you won't get all those skills or as a junior data scientist. This is going to come, through experience. But these are important. The mathematics, for instance, in this course, there's no question, there's no on the assignment mathematical questions. Every algorithm that we do is mathematical implementation. I mean, there's no two ways about that. And at some point, if you really want to be successful data scientist, you want to grow in the career, you have to have good understanding about the underlying implementation, because some complex models might require you to diagnose problems which require understanding of the underlying mathematics. But for this course, we don't focus on that. Like I said, this is more or less, you see the equation, we try to explain the concept, but you're not expected to actually manipulate numbers and formulas or equations. In the computer science part, the most visible part of that is the programming aspect. Remember, we talked about R. R is, at the end of the day, the programming language, so how to assign variables, how you write function, how you manage objects and memory, things like that. You're not expected to be as good as a software engineer, but you have to have a working knowledge of coding. So again, this is not unique to this course. In general, as a data scientist, you will benefit by having these three domains. There might be some combination of this. And that's really the end of this. Hopefully, I have given you some overview of the expectation and structure of the course. And with that, we go to the QA. And luckily, I guess maybe this is the first time that I'm using the Zoom. This was supposed to be ending in 40 minutes, but now I got some kind of warning message saying we have extended your. So that's good. So we have some time. If you have questions, I'll be glad to answer those. And if you have questions, I guess you have to unmute yourself and speak up.
Good evening. This is Emmanuel speaking. My question is, you said at the very beginning that this course has 2 sections. So what are those sections?
So I believe you're referring to these 2 sections. So there are 2 sections, 2 classes. That means one section has, 20, 22, 25 students. And I teach that, which is 90-40. And there is another section that Dr. Amy Getz teaches, that's 90-41. The same course content, everything the same, but they are taught by different professors.
So we will be having that second section on the coming semester, or is this like we will do one part and then we follow with the other part still in this semester?
No. It's the same course. It's exactly Data 630. It's just one course. I am just pointing out there are 2 sections that are being taught by 2, because you can't jump 50 people in one class. So we separate into 2 classes, and one is being taught by another professor and one is being taught by me.
Oh, okay, I see. I get you. Thank you.
Any other question? Okay, while you're thinking on questions, and one thing I like to say is, from my experience, I've been teaching this, I guess now 4 years. it is a bit heavy course. There is, if I did not, now this is not to scare you, nothing like that. It's just to make you aware that there is a lot of expectations, there are a lot of things to read in each module. You got to do exercise and assignment. That takes quite a bit of time, and with work and family, everything. So your time management is important. If you fall behind, my experience is it is hard to catch up the next module because progressively it's getting a bit harder. So please manage your time. Okay, I guess you don't have any question. Hearing none, I guess. All right. If you don't have questions, I think I am recording this thing. Hopefully, yes, I am. I will post the recording if you want to just watch it again, or for those who are not able to attend, I will post it. Other than that, I'm done. I will see you in class. And if you have any question from this, you can always throw it in the forum, and we will discuss it there. Okay? Thank you and good night. Thanks for your time.